everyone, I am Mary Rose House Daniega, a second year student taking Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. And for this time, I will be discussing about psychological basis of special and inclusive education, specifically the PJ's cognitive development and Albert Bandura's social learning theory. So these are the learning objectives of this lesson. So at the end of the lesson, you are expected to identify the different stages of Piaget's cognitive development and Albert Bandura's social learning theory. Differentiate Piaget's cognitive development and Albert Bandura's social learning theory and reflect with a deeper understanding on the value of Piaget's cognitive development and Albert Bandura's social learning theory in special and inclusive education. So, Piaget's cognitive development. So, in Piaget's cognitive development, or the theory of Jean Piaget, cognitive development, it is one of the most widely known perspectives about cognitive development. So, getting to know who is Jean Piaget. So, Jean Piaget is a Swiss psychologist. He created and studied an account of how children and youth gradually become able to think logically and scientifically. So he is famous for his theories regarding changes in cognitive development that occur as we move from infant to adulthood. So let's get to know these concepts because this will be a guide for us so that we could have an idea on Jean Piaget's cognitive development. So, what is cognitive and what is cognitive development? So, when we say cognitive, it refers to thinking and memory processes. And cognitive development means how children think, explore, and figure things out. It is a development of knowledge, skills, problem solving, and disposition which help children to think about and understand the world around them. So Piaget believed that learning proceeded by the interplay of assimilation and accommodation. So when we say assimilation, it is the adjusting of new experiences to fit prior concepts. And accommodation is adjusting concepts to fit new experiences. So these two concepts already have tackled last time in the Ed 101. So there are few things that we've already know on these concepts. So Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development suggests that children move through four different stages of intellectual development which reflect the increasing sophistication of children's thought. Let's find out what are these four major stages of intellectual development. So these are the four major stages of cognitive development. We have sensory motor intelligence, pre operational thinking, concrete operational thinking, and formal operational thinking. So, for the next slides, we could know the ages within these stages. So, let's first start on the sensory motor stage. So, in the sensory motor stage, it is on the age within from birth to 2 years old. So this first stage of cognitive development, the infant on this stage focuses on physical sensations and learning to coordinate their body. So the sensory motor stage is defined as a period when infants think by means of their senses and motor actions. So nakadepende sa ilang mga senses ang ilahang pag determine sa mga things. So according to Piaget, these actions allow children to learn about the world and are crucial to their early cognitive development. So the infant's actions allow the child to represent objects and events. So for example, a toy animal may be just a confusing array of sensations at first, but by looking, feeling, and manipulating it repeatedly, the child gradually organizes her sensations and actions into a stable concept, which is the toy animal. So, sensory motor development initially happens without the support of language. So, it might therefore seem hard to know what infants are thinking. So, it's truly based on the senses of a particular child. So the major characteristics and developmental changes in this stage. So the infant learners about the world through their senses and through their actions, which is moving around and exploring their environment. So the infant in this stage really learns about the world through their senses, as what I have told you a while ago. So during the sensory motor stage, a range of cognitive development or cognitive abilities develop. So these may include object permanence, self-recognition, deferred imitation, and representational play. So these abilities or concepts really have to ma-develop siya in this kind of stage. They relate to the emergence of the general symbolic function, which is the capacity to represent the world mentally. So the main achievement during this stage is the object permanence, which knowing that an object still exists even if it is hidden. So this is in the stage of sensory motor. So the individual differences within the stage are cultural practices and gender norms. So next is the pre-operational stage. So this is around the age of 2 to 7 years old. So at the beginning of the stage, the child does not use operations, so the thinking is influenced by the way things appear rather than logical reasoning. So furthermore, the child is egocentric and he assumes that other people see the world as he does. So as the propositional stage develops, egocentrism declines and children begin to enjoy the participation of another child in their games. And let's pretend play becomes more important in this stage. So these are the major characteristics and developmental changes in this stage. So we will know that toddlers and young children acquire the ability to internally represent the world through language and mental imagery. So this is one of the, or let's say, the individual differences within these stages. So we have this cultural storytelling, race, and representation. So the next one is the concrete operational stage from the age of 7 to 11 years old. So by the beginning of the concrete operational stage, the child can use operations to set of logical rules. So they can conserve quantities and realize that people see the world in a different way and demonstrate improvement in inclusion tasks. So children still have difficulties with abstract thinking. So these are the major characteristics and developmental changes. So children begin to think logically about concrete events. Children begin to understand the concept of conservation, understanding that although things may change in appearance and certain properties remain the same. So the individual differences within this stage is the cultural context to conservation tasks and gender and learning. So the fourth one is a formal operational stage. So from the ages 12 and over. So the formal operational period begins at about age 11. As adolescents enter this stage, they gain the ability to think in an abstract manner, the ability to combine and classify items in a more sophistical way, and the capacity for high order reasoning. So these are the major characteristics and developmental changes. So we have the children of this stage, they can follow the form of an argument without having to think in terms of specific examples. So we are under to this kind of stage. So the individual differences within the stage, we have the culture and abstract thinking and gender and ethics. So Piaget emphasized the role of active exploration and interaction with the environment in shaping cognitive development, highlighting the importance of assimilation and accommodation in constructing mental schemas. So this is part of the discussion na ho kanina. So we will proceed to Albert Bandura's social learning theory. So who is Albert Bandura? So Albert Bandura was a prominent Canadian-American psychologist known for his work in social learning theory and the concept of self-efficacy. So Albert Bandura's social learning theory. So social learning theory proposed by Albert Bandura posits that people learn through observing, imitating, and modeling others' behavior. This theory posits that we can acquire new behaviors and knowledge by watching others, a process known as vicarious learning. So sa theory, sa social learning theory of Albert, it states here that the people learn through observing, imitating, and modeling others' behavior. So these are the assumptions of the social learning theory. So it considers how both environmental and cognitive factors interact to influence human learning and behavior. Ano siya among four stages of social learning. We have the attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. So, within those concepts, na siya yung mga definitions of how it was used. So, why is social learning theory important? So, social learning theory helps us understand how our environment and the people around us shape our behavior. So, it is important theory for psychologists, educators, and human behavior, and those interested of human behavior and development. So, I hope everyone that you've learned and to this topic. So, God bless you all and keep safe. Thank you. Bye.